So, an old force, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not the radical new force that many had hoped for, is now holding the keys to the Aso Rock presidential villa, having used what one critic described as street fighters' cunning to wrestle his opponents to the ground. But in just over 5 months since he was sworn in, a lot of the hope and energy that we saw just ahead of the elections in February has dissipated. And Mr. Tinubu's decisions have affected all Nigerians, with the cost of living dramatically up and immense hardship brought on the people following the abrupt removal of subsidy without any measures to help ease the pain of the transition. So, as disposable incomes and demand drop and the cost of running businesses skyrockets with rising fuel costs and the naira daily falling in value, where is Nigeria right now and where is it heading? How much faith do Nigerians have in what their government is doing? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the development expert and business analyst, Dr. Taofiq Raimi, who holds a PhD in business administration. Dr. Raimi is also a politician and an APC chieftain who was a candidate for the House of Representatives. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much, Chas.
Lovely to see you.
I'm very happy to be here.
We've heard a lot about how influential President Tinubu was in turning Lagos State around in terms of its economy, revenue generation, etc. But Lagos clearly isn't Nigeria, and he was the governor there between 1999 and 2007, which by some measure is a long time ago. What is President Tinubu's economic philosophy today?
Well, thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians, and good evening, the entire world, because I know Arise Television is an international brand,
yes,
though domiciled in Nigeria. So I'm using this opportunity, first of all, before I go into the call of your question, which has to do with the economic philosophy of our dear president, the father of the nation, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Let me first of all congratulate him. I think it shouldn't be lost on any one of us to congratulate our president. I expect that from you, I expect that from PDP, I expect that from APC, I expect that from our court party, because it's not the president of APC any longer. This is president of the largest black people in the entire world. We should be glad. We should be grateful to our Creator, and we should be happy that we now have a president who is not in any doubt elected on 25th February 2023.
With 37% of the vote, while 63% voted for the opposition.
Yeah, we are not running a one-party system. Other political parties must have share of the vote. Do you want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to have scored 100%? Wouldn't there even be more outcry out there in Nigeria?
Okay, so you guys decided, oh, let's keep it at 37%.
No, that we keep it. That is what everybody voted.
Right.
But we are dealing with arithmetic.
Anyway, the ineluctable fact is that he is president of Nigeria, as you said. So we now want to know what his economic philosophy is, because Nigeria is in dire straits.
Exactly. And that is why we are also very lucky at this point to have a president who has an antecedent of transformative leadership, which he brought into Lagos. Of course, we are saying that Lagos is not Nigeria. But today, Lagos is a reference point, not only among committee of states in Nigeria, but even in Africa, about how he raised the IGR in Lagos from simple 600 million per month to 5 billion as at the time. He could possibly have raised it to 700 million per month, but look at the gravity of what we are talking about. So I believe that the same, if you can run an organization like Arise and is successful, who says if any of you is given a big organization, won't run it? Will anybody ask that if you are given another international organization to manage or to conduct this kind of interview, you wouldn't excel? You will, because the factors are the same. even though you are managing 36 states plus the FCT. What is the economic philosophy of Mr. President, our dear president? He has said it time and time over again. He's not going to run as far back as 10 years ago. Do you know that in 2013, when he co-authored a particular book called Financialism, Water from Empty Well, he perhaps has seen tomorrow, even as far back as several years back. Then when he even co-authored the book, he was even not contesting for the presidency of Nigeria at the time. He was simply suggesting to the federal government as at the time. And he said we must change the way we've been doing things. There must be economic reform. There must be national industrial policy that enable our industries to be ably supported, to be able to create products that we require, goods and services that we require.
Yeah, but I'm still trying to understand
his economic policy,
the economic philosophy. Let me ask you this. Is it an economic philosophy that's very vertical in terms of its organization, in the sense that it's organized around a few people, sort of the trickle-down theory? Or is it more horizontal, taking in lots of people at different levels?
Okay, let's bring it down to economic philosophy.
Right.
Most people have argued that we have 4 types of economic philosophy you could decide to choose, and we have seen examples across the globe. You could be a capitalist economy, you could be a socialist economy.
Well, obviously, Nigeria is a capitalist economy, so that goes without saying.
You could be a mixed economy.
Right.
What he said he was going to do, as far back as that time, he said he wasn't going to run a stare-hide socialism. He's not going to, but he's going to run what...
So a bit of this and a bit of that.
He's going to run what he called clear-eyed, yet progressive capitalism, in which case some asset and factor of production or productivity, distribution, exchange will rest both in the private sector. He's a private sector, he worked in the bank before, he had worked in oil sector before, so he started from the private sector, he has that background, so he's able to understand about KPI, he's able to understand how to give responsibility and ensuring that there is performance evaluation at every time. So he is going to ensure that the economy is reformed. Is going to ensure that every sector of our national life is not completely private driven. There will be some level of...
But there'll be a shift towards a more market-friendly... I mean, he was talking to the NESG the other day.
Yes.
Towards a more market-friendly spectrum, which would respond to the demands of the market.
Yes, but even as it responds to the demand of the market, which is otherwise called free market economy, there will still be regulation that will guide the operation of these industries, of manufacturers, of investors, so that ultimately his goal really within his economic philosophy is to have what we call shared prosperity across. Because while capitalism is very good, it's all about profit center. While socialism is very good, like it's practiced in some countries, it tends to just not allow for people to bring in capital.
I think it was Winston Churchill who said that capitalism is the uneven distribution of wealth. And socialism is the even distribution of miseries.
Exactly. So what we are talking about now is that we are not President Tinubu is not going to any extreme of the contour. He's going to make sure that while he is doing what we call social, for me, his philosophy is a mixed economy that has responsibility to the people. And that is why when
a bit like the British economy, like a welfarist capitalism.
That's why when you look at the 8-point priority he has created, look at each one. He said food security. That is about the heart of what people want.
Well, there's no food security in Nigeria at the moment, is
there? Yes, there is none. That's part of
inflation is galloping towards 30%.
You see, the beginning to resolve Nigeria problem is understanding it. And that is one thing we must give to this president. Even before he became the president, do you know that he published to everybody? The difference between him and other politicians and other political parties is that they cannot even produce what they want to do for Nigeria. He did that. 8-page renewed hope agenda. On page 3 of this document, you will see the summary of his 10 points, what he wants.
Yeah, but those are just words. We want to see action.
Yes, now he has started the action.
Yeah.
You understand?
What I need to ask you is, I mean, in terms of his management or his plan to manage the economy, obviously there are lots of leakages in Nigeria, lots of waste. He's got to take a serious look at the books and so on. And presumably that is going to happen because a lot of people, associate him, rather sadly, with not doing that sort of thing. He is, of course, in addition to that, seen as part of the establishment against which much of the electorate that's frustrated with that establishment's failure to improve the Nigerian economy voted against. I mean, he only got, as I said, 37% of the vote. So he's not...
But nobody got up to 37%.
He's not likely to
won
be...
the election.
He's not likely to be seen as throwing a brick through the window of the establishment, is he?
No, he would do so. He would do so. You see, it is not until when you kill everybody. For instance, you have a home, you have a house, for instance. Let me give you an image of what is actually happening in Nigeria. We have leakages, maybe from the roof, and everybody is saying, demolish the house. That's not the way to go. We can't demolish. Nigeria will not break. Nigeria will not... You understand what I'm saying? It's going to methodically and systematically identify what the problems are. Before he became the president, he was looking at Aso Rock and Nigeria from what I would describe as from the window. Now he's inside the house. He has facts before him. He's going to do all this. And that is why even as early as recent as last week, Monday, a week ago, he said 3 things, if you remember, among many, during his guest appearance at the Nigeria Economic Summit that was held here in Abuja. He said, as for the establishment, as for the public service, he will ensure ethical, transparent, and accountability. He chose his word, and he's going to do it. And that is why if you look at all the appointments he has made so far, he did not appoint any of these ministers without giving them marching order of what to go there and do. And that is why please let the media even also help, because you are part of Nigeria. You are even conducting your own business here. If you run Nigeria down, how will your business triumph?
We're not talking about running Nigeria down. We're trying to understand what it's going to do with regard to the Naira versus the dollar.
Yeah, the Naira versus dollar didn't happen today. Let me tell you this.
The rate of inflation.
Yeah, let me tell you, there are, as regards the loss of value of Naira, there are so many factors that have contributed to that. It's a speculating market. You are quite right that most people have lost interest or trust in the value of Naira. So they will prefer to mop up whatever is available. We also have problem with our economy being monoproduct. All that we get that is why he said, for instance, for now, we are going to have about $10 billion as a lifeline.
Yeah, but it's interesting that you say these things that you say.
Yes.
And I'm wondering whether you concede that how the economy got into that state is due to the APC government, which has been in power now continuously for more than 8 years.
You see, the problem we have in Nigeria did not start with APC. I am here, of course.
Yeah, but you've been in power for 8 years.
Yes,
that's enough time to correct it.
No, you see, it depends on how endemic a problem has been. Of course, we are not saying that. Even our current president did not deny that he inherited a bad economy. But you see, it is not much about what you talk about the problem. It's about what you are going to do about it. If PDP, who has the opportunity of several windfall, debt cancellation for 16 years, APC has been in power for only 8 years plus. the current 5 months of our
So you must do what the PDP did. I mean, we're expecting an improvement.
No, we're going to do better, definitely. I can assure you, Mr. Charles, I can assure Nigerians that our president, he is a technocrat. He is very serious, he's very passionate. He has outlined how all these issues will be resolved. He has talked about food security. He has talked about access to capital. He has also talked about rule of law. He has talked about fighting corruption, which you mentioned about what will he do to establishment. But he is about strategy. He has a lot of strategy. He has even called for more ideas from you, from everybody, from us, about, because it's a Nigeria project. It's not the president of APC, like I said. So he has also talked about poverty alleviation or eradication. He has talked about his goal to create economic prosperity and improve, create more jobs. So all these are cardinal things that he will do.
Well, all those things, of course, are theory. So let's see the practice. Come back and talk to us in a few months from now, and let's see where we
let me tell you
very,
this.
very briefly, because we're out of time.
Very briefly, let me tell you this. I understand the pain of the opposition. I contested, and I was a candidate, federal rep candidate, and before I became deputy director for our party, my APC, covering the entire Oyo State Central. If anyone has contested as a candidate, not even just as an aspirant, and you lost an election, there will be pains. But my advice to our opposition party is that Nigeria is for all of us. Enough is enough. Let Nigeria breathe. And let all of us support our Mr. President in whatever way to be able to move Nigeria forward. Well, in the next 4 years, the president has said, even in 3 years, our GDP will be $1 trillion. He has done it before.
We'll hold you to that.
I can assure you.
Dr. Taofiq Raimi, I want to thank you very much indeed. It's been very interesting talking with you. He is a development expert, business analyst. He holds a PhD in business administration and is also an APC chieftain. Thank you very much indeed.
Welcome. Thank you.